Hola, it is me, T, aka Tia Petra, and you're watching TTV. That will get me every single time. So today's reading is going to be about what are your psychic abilities? Okay. So first, I'm going to shuffle out the piles. We're going to see how many piles there's going to be. Actually, I'm going to use this to tell me how many different piles we're going to do first. I didn't pre-shuffle none of this, so we're gonna do it live together in flesh. Seven piles. Okay, so we're gonna do 7 different piles today for what are your psychic abilities. That is a lot, but that's the number that we got today. So this is going to be, we're gonna be up or down? Up. This is going to be pile number 1. Creative minds are rarely tidy. Okay, we're gonna shuffle. Oops, this one came out. Let's see. Oh, oh my God. So this is pile number 2, trying to unalive the bee. Looks like one of the Bratz girls. Trying to unalive the bee. That's pile 2. Okay, so pile 3, this one popped out. Leave yourself wide open to feel and experience everything. That's pile 3. Pile number 4, this is pile 4. Pile 4 right here. It's funny, please laugh. All right, so we got 3 more piles. All right. So this is pile number 5. These wings. Ooh, pile number 6. I feel like this might be my pile. This one looks interesting. It says, I saw that. Pile number 6. I saw that. Let's see. Let me shuffle again. Okay, no. Gonna shuffle, 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 shuffle. Because I feel like the last ones I didn't really shuffle for. I just pulled them out. Is this? Okay, so pile number 7. I do be vibing though. So this is pile number 1. Or what are your intuitive powers and what are your psychic abilities? This is pile number 2. This is pile number 3. This is pile number 4. Pile number 5. Pile number 6. Pile number 7. So like I said, we have 7 piles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So pile number 1 is going to start at 3 minutes and 29 seconds. Let me write that down. 3 minutes, 29 seconds. Pile 1, 3:29. Okay. So today is the 30th, right? It's almost February. Can you believe it? We're already through the first month of January. So creative minds are rarely tidy. Your psychic abilities, I feel like your psychic abilities are the fact that you can hear everyone's, like you can hear what everybody is thinking without them saying it. Also, I kind of feel like your psychic abilities or your intuitive power is in your creativity. Like you could be a trendsetter, or you could like kind of have ideas about wearing certain things that other people may want to wear, but they don't feel comfortable wearing them. Temperance in reverse. So your psychic abilities are in the fact that you are able to create a new path, you're able to pave a new way that is unconventional or is not really traditional or it's something that people have never seen before. So you're able to channel through your creativity. the Emperor. So let's see, that's both fire energy. I feel like your intuitive ability comes from your impulses. Like sometimes you say things that you're like, where did that come from? It comes out of the blue, and then it instills like this whole conversation amongst people. Hmm. Okay, so these are the rest of the cards. You got the Two of Wands in reverse, the Ace of Swords, the Nine of Pentacles. So there's a lot of ones and nines here. Uh, Judgment. You guys could really be book smart. You can read a lot of books, and I feel like you may get answers in your everyday reality from the things that you might read, whether if you get lost in books a lot, or if you like watch shows, or if you I feel like you're able to draw like collective energy from the things that you come across in your daily life, like whether it's something that you read, or like a news article, or like if you go out or you go to the movies, or if you're watching a show, then something that you will see on there can kind of give you answers for something else that'll happen later. So I feel like you'll watch something on TV or reading a book, and then it'll happen in your life with the people that are around you. So your psychic abilities come from you, because okay, so say for example something was to, like, most people when they think psychic they think of like, that's so Raven, or monk, like, and they have this like, oh, okay, like, well, some people they do have that, but I feel like with you, you see it before it happens, like in a book or in a show. Like, for example, if you were watching a show, like you could be watching something, and like two of the characters could be into some type of argument, and then the same exact thing happens in your life, and you could literally have an answer on how to deal with it based on what you already saw. Um, I feel like your psychic abilities comes from, like I said earlier, like you might say things and you might be like, where did that come from? But it's because you're literally saying what someone was thinking. Like a lot of times people could be like, oh my God, I was literally just thinking about that. And you could hear people say that all the time, to the point where like you really don't think much of it because you're so used to people being like, I was just thinking about that. So your psychic abilities are like, you can pick up on the energy around you, and someone doesn't even have to be in the same room as you. They could be like somewhere else, and you could basically say something, or you could post something on social media, and then somebody's like, I was literally just thinking about that. So with that being said, like if that happens to you, then you can strengthen your psychic abilities by knowing that you are able to pick up on the frequency of the collective energy around you. So whenever you kind of get this random idea that isn't something that you would normally think about, it's because those are the intuitive downloads that you're getting. I feel like the numbers you might see a lot could be 111, or you could see the number 9. Maybe you were born in the ninth month. You could be a Virgo, or you could be a Sagittarius, or you could be an Aries or a fire sign. Let's see, Judgment in reverse. I feel like your psychic abilities also come from the fact that you know when to sit back and listen, and you know when to basically act. So sometimes you can get more answers simply by sitting back and listen. Something could tell you, like, you're the type of person where you'd be like, you probably say a lot, like, something just told me, or something is telling me this, and this. Because a lot of times you might have the impulse to want to say or do something, but then as soon as you get that feeling that tells you to not and to wait, somebody ends up saying something that was on your mind, and you kind of already knew it. So it kind of validates what you were already thinking. And then on top of that, because you decide to just be still or quiet in that moment, answers can end up getting revealed to you. So if someone's telling you something, and then you might like want to agree with them or have the like impulse to interject, you could be like, let me just listen for a second. Like, especially if you're a fire sign, or if you're an air sign, you can have the impulse to just always, want to reply, which is not a bad thing, but you're vocal persons. And you could be like, let me just think for a second. And then next thing you know, somebody's spilling all the tea to you just because you chose to sit back and listen. So I feel like you can kind of like hypnotize people into telling you stuff without actively trying to get the intention of having people telling you things. Like, I feel like your psychic abilities come from the fact that people like want to share secrets with you and they feel comfortable sharing secrets with you. I just get that overall you're like very psychic. Like you can pick up on all the energies around you without people saying them. And it can kind of creep you out because it's basically like you're a mind reader almost. Nine of Pentacles. I think like whatever work that you do, especially if you're like a creative person, whatever work you do draws like people who are a part of your soul family to you. There's a lot of fire here, a lot of wand energy. There's actually every energy except for water. So yeah, I kind of just get that you have like a compulsion. Kind of like if you've ever seen the originals or like any vampire show where the vampires are able to like force people to tell them stuff. Like, okay, so it's like you probably have the ability to make people do things for you. Yeah, like you probably get a lot of free stuff or you get a lot of opportunities. You might actually win like raffles a lot, or you like, I can't even talk. Like you might win things a lot, like randomly, or you could probably always get nominated for stuff, or like people just really like you. You're really popular, and like being well liked also. I mean, just as much as being well most hated, but like being well liked is also an intuitive power because you have the ability to sway masses. So that's something that you really need to tap into, especially if you're an influencer or if you are an influencer. But specifically, if you all are already an influencer, then you need to know that whatever you do and say is being watched very, very closely. And that kind of can be a blessing and a curse because people can probably take things that you say the wrong way, but you have the ability to sway people's minds. And you have the ability, like people, if you recommend something, the next thing you know, you're probably seeing a bunch of other people talking about the same things, like especially like you're most people around you probably are not even the type to like read books, but then if you're like this book was really good, next thing you know all these people are reading it. And then a lot of times you might see that, like if someone is has been watching like your social media, if you don't have social media then it can be just in real life, like you can tell if these people have been paying attention to you because of the things that they say. Like people might start to say the same things that you say, that you might start noticing that they might start doing little things that you do. Like if you're a girl and people use, like most of the people around you wear lashes and then you just wear mascara, next thing you know most people will probably wear mascara, but if you start wearing lashes then people will start wearing lashes again. Or you could probably start wearing your hair in a ponytail and then people will be like, oh my god, that's really cute, and then start wearing their hair in a ponytail. So you just have this ability to like sway and hypnotize people. But like I said, you could also have your psychic ability could be in the fact that you could make people do things for you without having to ask. So it's not like hypnosis where you're like, do this for me. It's like you have this energy where people want to do it for you and then they don't understand why. Just like people can be like, I'm not the type to really open up and tell my secrets, but then next thing you know, they're telling people your secrets. I feel like you could like your psychic abilities could also be in the fact that um people want to work with you, and that's what lets you know that people do like your creative ideas because they always either people copy you or they always look to you for advice. Or even if someone has their own swag or their own style, they like still try to like take a little bit off of yours because you're very influential. You have like a lot of royal energy though. Like you know yourself, like your psychic ability isn't the fact that you do have a knowing. Like you could be clairsentient or clairvoyant, but the thing is sometimes maybe you don't always like think of it like that because you're so used to it, but you definitely are most likely clairsentient where you just know things or you can sense them. I feel like your psychic abilities also comes from the fact that it says imperfection beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and then on this side you have this. So your psychic ability is in the fact that, like, your eyes, like, people really like your eyes, and I feel like you can make people really fall for you. Just you're probably like a very, either you're a traditionally attractive person or you have an unconventional, like an etheric type of beauty. um you could be an Aries rising or Leo rising, or Aries rising, or you could have, if you're a Virgo, you're like, one of your planets could be in the ninth house, or there could be a strong Sagittarian influence also. Discovery. So yeah, let's see. Your psychic ability is also, or your intuitive power is also in the fact that you help people understand the things that they may not be able to have answers to. Like, you might say something, then people will be like, what you said really, really inspired me, or it really caused me to think, and I wasn't thinking that before. And like, even if you don't get a lot of like compliments from people, you probably already feel that a lot of people are watching you. Like, say for example, a lot of people could always like be on looking at your story, but they don't engage with you a lot, like on your social media, but they are definitely watching. Like, a lot of people pay attention to you and watch you, and you could be a loner and like really be off to yourself and not think anything of it because people don't really engage with you. But they're like, I can see people thinking a lot about you, or like things that you do. Reverse. But the things that you know, like, if you could be into very non-traditional ideologies, like, you can have a very, like, you could be into conspiracy theories, or you could have very a wide range of topics that can cause people to think, but it can also probably make them uncomfortable because they're not used to someone speaking out like this. It kind of gives like Kanye vibes, where like, even though Kanye, he just says a lot, he says anything, but he says what's on his mind. And you could also be a Gemini. You could have a lot of mutable energy too. And I feel like your intuitive power is like, it's also in the fact that you're able to you have a great level of discernment. Like, you could have been in situations where you just have a feeling that something is off, and then next thing you know, like, you leave that place, and then a couple hours later you can hear that something happened. Like, you could probably have just left the place, and then somebody's calling you like, oh my god, a fight just broke out. Or you could see later on the news, like, if you were at the mall or if you were at like a restaurant, you could see like you probably just, there are probably plenty of times where you've watched accidents happen like right in front of your face, or like you've seen on the news, like there was like a robbery or something at the place that you were just at hours ago, but something told you to leave. Like, you have this inkling, or something is telling you when things are not right and not and off, and you definitely need to listen to that, because that is your intuitive power. So that's all I have for you, pile one. So definitely tap into another pile if you're drawn to it, because there are 7 piles, and you guys are number one, which was creative minds are rarely tidy. So now pile two is going to be 1827. Let me write that down. Okay, pile number two. Okay, pile number two. This one is funny. I'm an unalive baby. Your intuitive and psychic powers. You could be the pile that is into occult practices, or you could be into like manifesting and healing. And I see your intuitive powers are in the fact that you know when to, like, you also know, like pile number one, you know when things are off. And so you might do a lot of like energy work and banishing and protection rituals. You may know how to protect other people. Like, you could be the one that will tell someone when something doesn't seem right. Like, you might have the urge to text people and be like, I don't think you should go there today, or I don't think you should talk to that person, or I just have a bad feeling about this. And people listen to that, and that is your intuitive power, because you just let's see, you just know when to end things. Like, there's an emphasis on timing here. Like, you can know when to do things at the perfect time. Let me get some cards on this. I feel like you draw in a lot of energy, like where people try to aggress upon you, like where people try to start things with you, and you end up always making someone feel dumb without even like, you don't even have to like hurt them or say anything mean. It's just like either it's the way that you look at them, like, or I'm getting that people are maybe afraid of you because of the way that you come off, and like you could be a really soft-natured person, but you could probably have this strong presence about you that wards off a negative energy. That's what it is. Like if there's someone who wishes you harm or wishes someone harm around you, even if it's not you, but you can like pick up on those things, and then it'll cause. It's just something about your aura, like something about your energy. It causes people to change their mind about the decision that they make if it's negative. Ten of Cups in reverse. Yeah, I feel like your psychic power is in the fact that like people feel like you can read their minds and it freaks them out. And I don't see you being the type that really, Princess of Swords, I don't see you being the type to really say much. It's just in how you move, and how you move like makes people really reevaluate. Like, say for example, you're in the store and you are just minding your own business, and then someone could come in and they have this idea of wanting to like rob the store, but then they can see you and it makes them freak, like it makes shakes up their energy. Like I said, this is nothing that you do or say, it's just literally your energy alone. It causes people to like change their mind. Temperance in reverse again. Why does temperance keep coming on reverse? Let me hold on. Some of these cards are in reverse. So I got the Two of Swords in reverse. I feel like your intuitive power is when you don't say anything. Like you could have the you could be notorious for disappearing. Like you probably disappear and then, but you do it to see how like people's, like you do it for reactions. Like not to say that you disappear for a reaction, but it's like you get answers whenever you draw back, and you go into these phases where it's like people know not to they just it, I feel like whenever you draw back, it makes other people want to draw back too. Like they just feel like this is not the time. Magician in reverse, yeah. So you're intuitive. Okay, let me think for a second. Three of Wands. So I feel like you do get premonitions. Um, you definitely get premonitions. You could daydream a lot, and you could probably, you may most likely you get visions. Like you could be clairvoyant. You could get visions, or you could even like to scry. Like you could probably be really good at tarot too. And even if you don't necessarily do tarot, I just have this feeling like that you know things. Like so you could have a feeling that someone's about to call you and then they call you, or you could be thinking about someone and then they text you telling you something. Like I just really get that this is a very psychic pile. And so yeah, water, air, fire. There's no earth here. Yeah, I have the feeling that you are able to see beyond the veil, and you also could be able to read auras. Like you could see someone and you could probably look at them and see, like, tell something's wrong with them, like if they're sick, like without telling you. And also, like, if say for example you go to work and then someone at work is sick but they're there and no one knows, like they're not wearing a mask or anything, you could just have this feeling to want to stay away from them, and you could usually normally talk to them, but something that day is like staying away from them, and then a day later they end up not coming to work because they're sick and you were like, I knew it. If you find that people like ghost you or they stop talking to you, that's like your spirit team kind of pushing people away. Like I said, it's an aura thing. Like your aura repels other auras that are not in alignment with you without you having to do anything. There's nothing that you're doing or saying that does this. It's just naturally your energy that you carry. I feel like this pile wears a lot of dark colors. Like you probably like to wear black. This could be feminine. Like you guys could be like gothic, or like maybe you have a lot of, like you have Cancer in you. You might have planets in the third house. Maybe you have a lot of air sign. This could be like maybe you're a Libra or Libra rising or Aquarius. Or I'm also hearing Capricorn, Capricorn rising, Capricorn moon. 3-1 reverse. If you like in school, you know how in school there's like you play those games like Jeopardy or like guessing games or whatever type of game. Like I just see two teams, and then you're on the team where it's like you were able to be the one on the team to tell the rest of the team that the other team was going to do X, Y, and Z. And then people on your team may not listen to you. They'll be like, no, we should do this. And then next thing you know, the team does exactly what you said. And then the people on your team are just, they're quiet. They don't have anything to say because they're probably thinking like, dang, she said that. So I kind of feel like you're the one that was like, you may not have been the most popular growing up or might not be the most popular, but people, just because you weren't necessarily the most typical popular person, you still have that energy where people just they there's something about you that they cannot put their finger on, and that's your intuitive powers. Like I just see someone with black hair, and I see a cat also. I don't know why I didn't shuffle any of these cards for the last one. Let's see. Actually, I should have. I'm just gonna put these in here from now on. Or no, I'm gonna put them in here right now since they're here. Let's get some answers for this one. This is an interesting pile because I just know that there's more, like your intuitive abilities, or like you could just know things. Like for example, if there's a recession gonna happen, or if like even like the quarantine that we have, like when things like that happen, I just see you knowing it, and then like I could see you having a feeling that things are going to happen, and then you watch the news or you hear about it, like this is going to be happening or so and so is going to, you're just like, I already knew, I had a feeling. Like you could be a good forecaster, or you could be like, I feel like the theme should be this, or like maybe this year for prom, like you could definitely have ideas where you're like, we should do this or this idea, and then next thing it's going viral or it's popular again. Like you're probably like, oh, well, I haven't seen platform shoes out in a while. Yeah, like definitely back to that idea of like the groups, whenever you're the one that has the idea that people are like, no, we're not doing that. And that was the winning idea. You have your psychic ability is in the way that you make things with your hands. Whatever you do with your hands, it kind of hypnotizes people. Like if you talk with your hands a lot, and then you notice that, like if you could be talking to someone who like might have this certain type of energy, and you start talking with your hands, and it kind of like you kind of like notice this thing go over them where now it's like they're hyper fixated on you. It's because of your hands. So that's why I'm getting there's a lot of Gemini energy. You could be a Mars and Gemini. You could definitely like to write. You could be a journalist or a writer, or you could be like you could work undercover. Um, maybe you do a lot of makeup. Like you could like cosplay, and your psychic abilities definitely come from, like for example, if you do cosplay or if you dress up or if you like to be in disguise, and the things that people say to you, like if they know, like if you weren't in your normal attire, like without whatever you had on, and the people will come up to you and say like the most bizarre things, and you're just thinking like, but that is like the universe's way of giving you answers through people. Whereas the last pile, theirs was through like books, but yours is through people. Like random people might come up to you and say things that kind of align with the synchronicities that you could have been seeing before. Like you maybe you see 444 a lot, yeah. Um, 10. since there's a lack of water here, let's see. Hmm. Yeah, like I feel like there's a lot of people that think that you're super witchy or spiritual, and that kind of makes people scared of you, or like people don't want to mess with you. Like, for example, someone could mess with you and then something could happen to them, and then they think like, so you have a very strong connection with karma and your karma, and like I feel like you're very protected in a sense. So your psychic abilities come from your ancestors, which is why you can read auras, because your ancestors are kind of like, basically, if you meet someone who has a bad aura and you feel like this resistance, it's your spirit team pushing you away from them, or God pushing you away from them. Um, I'll pull one more. There's a lot of blues and purples here. Pile 2, psychic abilities and intuitive powers. Oops. Like you could definitely notice a lot of paranormal stuff. Like books could fall off the shelves, or like, I don't know why I keep getting this like predatory energy. Like people are like, you could always find yourself in a situation where people are like trying to prey on you, or this is a trigger warning, but people could be like trying to like hurt you a lot, and then something happens to them right in front of your face, and you're just like, I cannot believe that happened. Yeah, so this card came out. You are magic. Yeah, you definitely. This is a very like witchy pile to me. You're definitely protected as well. So that's all I have for you, pile 2. I'm gonna unalive this big pile. And so now I am going to move one tool, pile 3, and definitely check out another pile if you're drawn to it. That was really interesting. There was more energy that I was feeling, but I just couldn't really put my finger on it. So now pile 3, 3205. 3205 for pile 3. Let me write this down. Okay, pile 3. It says, leave yourself open to feel a experience. Leave yourself open to feel and experience everything. Hi, pile 3. So we're going to talk about your psychic abilities and intuitive powers. So leave yourself open to feel and experience everything. I see someone who likes to spend a lot of time out in nature. You probably like to people watch, and you could see things happen. It's kind of like giving me Batman vibes, where it's like you step in, like you're kind of like, you probably are always there, always out in the open, and yet people like overlook you. It's kind of like you're invisible almost. Um, if that's a trigger for warning for you, my bad. But it's kind of like you have the invisibility power. Like you're able to like, people probably overlook you, and because of that they're not thinking anything of you, and then you could get like intel and information on certain things just because you happen to be in the room, because people are not paying attention to you. So it's like you kind of have like an invisibility cloak over you. I feel like there's a lot of men that are attracted to you. You could be a man or a woman, but I feel like a lot of men are drawn to you and tell you about their plans. Like they could be like men could be very proud about the ideas that they have, and if they don't tell other people, they could tell you. There's a lot of pinnacle energy here. So we have the sun, the 3 of Pentacles in reverse, the moon, the King of Pentacles, the Fool in reverse, and the Knight of Pentacles. There's no air here. So I get that your power comes through persuasion. Your intuitive power is through persuasion and how you act. Like you might be like a chameleon, where you are able to adapt to situations. You're able to adapt to your environment. You're probably not someone that likes to be inside a lot. And whenever you go outside, I feel like your psychic powers come from the moon and the sun. Like you probably do a lot of sun gazing and moon gazing, or and the nature really brings energy to you. So like if you go out in nature a lot, like the trees or the plants could talk to you, or like gravitate, or like a lot of animals could gravitate towards you. and like you could have a lot of spirit animal on totems. You could probably have Native American or Indian. When I say Indian, I mean like actually India. What is it used to call? What is India used to be called? Like Eastern Asia. You have that type of descendant, and so you could have a long lineage of people in your family who could have been alchemists or could have been a part of some type of tribe or tribal practices. So I get that your intuitive powers comes from your ability to, like, you could probably, like, what is it called? I don't know what it's called, like when you touch something and then you can feel the energy in it, like whether it's a person or a thing, but like you could touch something and then you can get this surge of energy. Or you could get like even the clothes that you wear. Like I feel like it's kind of giving, what is his name? Like the master of disguise, or I'm kind of getting like the mask vibes, like where the way you look, it either attracts a lot of people. I feel like it attracts a lot of people, but it also repels just as many people. And the people that you repel, you can tell that like if they're in alignment with you or not. Was this pile three? Hold on, what? Oh, one, two, three. Yeah. Okay, we only on pile three. Okay, so yeah, pile three. Um, your intuitive powers can come from the experiences that you've been through. Like you could have gone through a lot of stuff in your lifetime, a lot of changes, a lot of deaths and rebirths. Like you could have transformed yourself many times, and it's kind of like you become a different person each time. Like it's kind of like you die and come back to life each time as a different person. So I kind of get like that you've reincarnated here many times on this timeline. And actually, you have the ability to astral project, which is one of your intuitive powers. Like people that you know or you might not know, like you could end up seeing someone in your dream that you've never seen before, and then you could see them in real life, or you could end up dreaming things and then they happen. So I was definitely advised that if you are a lucid dreamer or an astral projector, to one, protect yourself in the dream realm, and two, get a dream journal and write down those things that you see and that happen. But also, to try to get some things that can enhance and aid your sleep process, whether it's like drinking dream tea like mugwort or getting dream crystals like what is it called, green apatite or labradorite, or even protection crystals. There's a heavy emphasis on the third eye and the crown chakra. So you could just get a lot of downloads from the divine. Like you could have a lot of intuitive messages and feel the need to share them with other people, which you should do if you don't. Sun energy, the sun and the moon. People could be inclined to wanting to tell you their secrets, or people could seek counseling. You might actually could be like a teacher or an advisor, a coach, a lawyer, an accountant, some type of advisor or psychologist, and you learn through your clients. Um, I feel like maybe you're prone to getting headaches or like ringing in your ear, like tendonitis or whatever it's called. And those are your downloads. So like when those happen, like next thing you know, you probably open your eyes. Like you could probably like have also vitiligo. There's a lot of vertical energies here. So maybe like you can pick up on an energy based on like if you start getting a headache or a toothache, or you start feeling ill or sick or nauseous or tired. So your body and nature tells you things. Maybe you could be very clumsy, and or you could see accidents happen around you, like pile one. If you were drawn to pile one, I would definitely, if I was watching that pile, you probably see 111 a lot, or three. um Maybe you're also like a counselor, or a lot of people come to you for counsel. uh People probably, your intuitive powers also come in the fact that people like, if you have an idea, next thing you know somebody else is asking you about this thing. They're like, what do you think about this? Not the one. Not the one. I feel like your intuitive and psychic powers comes, like you could ghost people. Like you could have a lot of like what do they call, short term situationships, because you're able to realize when people are not being genuine. That was really nasty that I just dug in my eye like that. Sorry. Like you're able to see when people are not being genuine with you, and that kind of like protects you from getting into situations with them. I also feel like you're able to see through people's BS. Like you can tell when someone's lying, and like someone could be lying to you and then they start getting nervous. And if people start getting nervous around you, then you know that they're not being authentic. I could get that. I get your psychic ability also comes from the fact that people look up to you a lot. And the people that look up to you, you kind of get like clarity from them because it's almost like they're an extension of you or they want to be like you. And when they say and do things, it kind of reminds you like of different aspects of yourself. Like I said before, you went through many transformations in your life. So these people that you come across could be like past versions of you in a sense. And then it causes you to like basically almost look at yourself. I feel like you can like look through timelines or look through dimensions. And if you know, then you know. Like if you're here on my channel, then most likely you already know what that means. So like I feel like you're able to jump timelines and dimensions. Like you actually could be like kind of like Quicksilver where he like is really 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 fast, but I think your mind kind of like jumps timelines sometimes, so you can kind of see notice people. What is I'm trying to think of a good example. Maybe like on SpongeBob whenever they went to the future, um and everybody was being different but they were still them. Like it's kind of like that. What other shows are like that? Like a lot of shows that have to do with like you could be an Aquarius too or a Pisces because it's giving me like futuristic vibes. A lot of these piles are really good at picking out trends, is what I'm getting. So you could be a forecaster, maybe you're an astrologer. Actually, one of your psychic abilities could be in the fact that you could know somebody's signs before you even get their chart or without them telling you because you're really good at psychology and like understanding people. What else? What else? What else? What else? So yeah, last thing is like I said before, you probably experience. I don't know if I said this or not. I think I said it in a different pile, but you could experience a lot of paranormal activity in the daytime. Like things could happen, and like you could really disassociate. I see you like daydreaming off, and then you coming back, and that's why I said like you can jump through timelines because if you find yourself like blacking out or like dozing off or like daydreaming and then someone comes to you and like, hey, look at this. You could have just been thinking about that and you're like, this is so weird. And you're probably always like, am I here right now? Is this real? Like, am I here or am I not here? All right, pile three. So that's all I have for you. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And let me know in the comments what you thought about it and what you want to see next. And feel free to choose another pile also, because the first two piles that I did definitely had energies like within them, and I think that you would benefit from picking another number. All right, so now we're moving on to pile four. Let's see, pile four, 4330. 44, 4330. It is what it is. Please laugh. Let's see. Let's see. Pile four. Okay, so your pile is it's funny. Please laugh. Let me look and shuffle the cards. I know you're not the only one. Oh, this one on reverse. Shuffle. Intuitive abilities. It's funny. Please laugh. So your psychic abilities come from the fact that you are able to see the good in negative situations. Like when things are going bad, people are able to consult with you to make them feel better. But a lot of times you might notice, oh, six. Let's see. Hmm. Saturn and six. Let's see. So this is the first card, Ace of Swords. Second is Queen of Wands in reverse. The third is the Four of Swords in reverse. And the Knight of Wands. Hmm. Hmm. And the Three of Swords in reverse. Three, four, Queen, Ace, Knight. Hmm. Let me pull another one. Oh, and on the bottom of the deck, the Seven of Cups. So it's funny. Please laugh. I feel like your intuitive abilities can come from the your social media following. Like if you have like I feel like you're more of a person that's always indoors and you have more of like a carbon footprint, like an online presence. And you connect with the people you connect with people all over from your social media presence. And your intuitive abilities are based off of the fact that you're able to connect with people of all walks of life from all over the world. And like I feel like you like are funny without even trying. Like so your intuitive ability could be like in the fact that you can make people laugh. And like when they're in the most negative energy. You also your intuitive or psychic abilities could be like you can know when something is wrong with someone without them telling you and you are able to um I'm so sorry for the noise, guys. Someone just decided to start watching. So yeah, I feel like hmm, this is interesting. There's only swords and wands here. So in all these cards, look, let me make sure this is. I don't want to. So all of these are. So it's up, down, down, up. Okay, up, up, down, down, up. Do you notice how they all have their hands, something in their hands? Hmm. It's kind of giving me like mime energy for some reason. Let me see. Do I need to take this off of here? I hope y'all can still hear me, but your psychic abilities are the fact that I feel like you can have really bad vision for some reason. Like I'm seeing someone. This is a different pile. This is an unconventional pile. If anything, did I pick this pile? No, no. This is pile four. So pile four. Like your psychic abilities, like I said, you could really make people laugh, like without even trying. And then half the time you're like, "What did I do that was funny?" Like this gives me like Aquarius energy or like Leo or Sagittarius energy. It doesn't have to be those signs, but maybe you can have prominent energy in your chart from that. But I feel like you also have healing hands. Maybe you could be a Reiki healer or a tarot reader, or you do something with your hands. Maybe you're a doctor or a doula or a hairdresser. I think your intuitive abilities comes from the fact that you're able to see things that are not there. Maybe you're able to that's why like it's funny, please laugh. Oh, what time did I start in the pile for? I think I wrote it down, never mind. Like maybe okay, so you could have had an imaginary friend growing up and you could have felt like your toys talk to you. Like you could have a very overactive imagination or you could be a very imaginative person, which is good because typically those type of people are the most creative. But I feel like you're able to see things that are not there, like whether it means creatively, like you could see a vision, or like you're actually able, like you could be a medium. That's what it could be. Your psychic ability is that you're a medium, and you probably connect or talk to deceased loved ones, or you like to work with, like maybe you're a necromancer, or you like to work with like the dead. So with the it's funny, please laugh. Like you could have a dark sense of humor, or like you could be into dark humor, or you could be a thrill writer or a cosplayer. I feel like you're also very you have a you have a very satir. Ooh, I don't know what that was. This file is like really funny. You can have a very satirical nature. Like you, like I said, you could have just this ability to make people laugh. Like, you know how the Joker, like, he's not a clown, but like he has very dark humor, but people are like screaming and afraid of him. Like, or who else? They're like, please, like, I'm not scary. Like, it's just like maybe you're somebody who's like really big in nature. Like, you look like you have this very strong, intimidating presence, and then people get to know you and they're like, oh, I didn't never think you were like that. And like, you're so funny, but you look like so scary. Like, you look like you probably snap someone in half. And there probably is always situations that you're in where, like this, like I'm trying to record this video, and then now there's all this noise because the washing machine's about to be going, and it's not like I can stop this video, because if I stop this video, I've already been going 51 minutes, and I'll have to edit it, and if I put the two sections together, it'll be too big for me to download the or to export the entire file. So your intuitive abilities comes from your ability to think outside the box. Like, you're a really good brainstormer. You um you could be the person who says what everyone's thinking, but people are too afraid to say. Like, because society has come so like politically correct, where they are too afraid to laugh at certain things. You know, like some comedians get backlash because they might make fun of like someone, like make fun of someone for something, like whether it's creed, race, class or color, which is like you shouldn't make fun of people for those things. But at the same time, there are certain things that are funny, and sometimes people try to act like certain things are not funny. Which I'm not saying it's funny to make fun of someone, but at the same time, it's just like you're able to like you just are real. Like, you're able to keep it real, and a lot of people like you for how real you are, but in the same time, it does make them uncomfortable, because and that uncomfortability shows you where people are not real. Like, you're probably the one, like if you work office job or wherever you work, like you just being yourself, and you know that people are uncomfortable with themselves, and like you could probably attract a lot of people that are in a not in a healed energy, where they want to be healed, but they're not ready yet because they are too influenced by society in the 3D realm instead of thinking like on another plane. So you could be the type of person that likes to talk about aliens. You probably see a lot of UFOs. I also feel like your intuitive powers, like your psychic abilities, could come from you probably find things. Like, you could probably find money on the ground, or like you could like run into something. Like, you could just be minding your own business, and then now there's a carcass. Like, you could have been. This happened to me once. Like, one time I was at a park. Like, I used to have to walk through the park in order to get to community college. Like, I didn't have to walk through the park, but because I like to not, like, I would prefer being around nature and animals than people sometimes. Does that mean I'm on the spectrum? Probably. But I like to use to like do a nature walk, take the scenic route, and then like I was like, there's this really bad smell. Like, what is that? All whole the time I'm like taking pictures and photo shoots in the grass. And I go home an hour later and they were like, yeah, there was a body that was found in the park, literally right where I was. And I was like, it smells bad out here. So yeah, it could be like situations, they're not funny, but like they just happen to be like a funny situation to you. Like, you can have really dry or dark humor. But a lot of times when people have dry or dark humor, most likely they have a very high IQ and they're intelligent. So you're probably really good at math, probably also good at astrology, probably good at timing. Like, you could hit the not the lottery, like you could be good at like bets and gambling. Now with this 3 of swords in reverse, I feel like your psychic ability is in your psychic power is your ability to regenerate. Like in situations, like I say, you probably are not accident prone, but like there's probably like the craziest situations that happen to you that if they happen to a normal person, that person would just crumble and be depressed forever. Where for you, like for some reason you just laugh at the situation. Like I feel like there's a lot of masculines in this pile. You're probably really into video games. You probably do live streams, and if you don't, you probably should be a live streamer, which is probably why I just got this little mic up like this all of a sudden. Uh, your psychic ability isn't the fact that you know how to make people laugh. Like you have a way with words. Like you could be the type of person that probably like gets the job even though you're not qualified, or like you could talk your way in and out of any situation, and so there's power in your words. I don't see you sitting back and waiting for things to happen. I see you like you're really an investigative person. So your psychic abilities could be that your mind and your intuition leads you down the right path of getting the answers, whereas before you would be like, okay, maybe I should start here, then go there, then go there. But no, a lot of times it just presents itself right in front of you, and you don't even have to actually actively look. I see you not having to do much. Like I see a lot of things coming to you. That's why each one of these cards have something in their hands. Like uh, your your intuitive power is in your ability to take things in the tangible and make them work for you. And the next thing you know, you have answers. Like this pile is not as intuitive in the traditional sense, but more in a tangible sense. Like you're able to use things. Like you could be an alchemist or a magician, where it's like you use tools. Like you could have an altar, and the deities or the ancestors that are helping you on your altar are the way that you get your psychic abilities. Like you're connected with the other world. That's what I'm getting. Let me clip this back on here. Hopefully it doesn't make too much noise. This pile is so funny, bruh. Uh, you really make people laugh and you really brighten people's days. Just like so, this one was out and then popped out again. Distance yourself, give me 50 feet. Like I was saying before, like about your social media presence. Like you could be like a Reddit blogger or a Tumblr blog owner. 6 1s in reverse. Like you could have some type of alias. Um, 7 of Swords, pile 5, or no, pile 4. I'm sorry. Maybe you could be drawn to pile 5. Also, to get like an extension after this, you should probably watch pile 5. But there's a lot of 6s and 7s. It's just I feel like it's your work ethic and your craft and the way that your mind works is your psychic power. Like you don't think like most people. This could be my pile that maybe has some type of mental disability, maybe autism or Asperger's or whatever. And that's probably like I said, you know how to make people laugh. Like I found a lot of times people with like mental like Asperger's and that are on the spectrum, like those people are like really funny because your mind works differently, which is why I feel like you have a stronger social media presence because you can be like without judgment on that platform. Like you have some type of alias and you can be without judgment there, and people just really love your personality, like your personality. Like they say TV personalities, but it's like your social media personality. But okay, Paul Four, that's all I have for you. Please give me a thumbs up and let me know in the comments what you thought and what videos you'd like to see also. And now I'm moving on to pile 5. So pile 5 is going to start at 59.25. 59.25, pile 5. Okay. So pile 5 I apologize for the noise. The washing machine's on. It happened in the last pile. It wasn't on before, but it happened in the last pile. So check out the last pile if you're drawn to it. And we're gonna start with some tarot. Just gonna shuffle these. The only thing hopping like a kangaroo. I mean, the only thing popping like a can of fruit. Listen, you're about at 16. Your psychic abilities could be in the fact that you're very poetic. Like you could rhyme, like the Lorax. Are you the Lorax? Are you Dr. Seuss? Is this my Dr. Seuss child? You could have a connection with children. Maybe your psychic abilities could be in the fact that you could understand people who are not able to express themselves, and you connect with those people a lot, and you're able to understand them, and then you're like a conduit, like a receptor to those people to be able to help them express themselves. Those sorts. I feel like this pile is able to see beyond the veil. Your psychic abilities are like you're literally psychic. So what? Hmm. Hmm. Okay. I'm gonna ask for the bottom of that pile 5, the butterfly wings. This is interesting. So the first card, 2 of Swords. Second card, the Moon. I'm gonna do this over. First card, 2 of Swords. The second card is the Moon. The third card is the Magician. Sorry if I was speaking low at first. I have to remember I have to speak up because of the washing machine. Oh my god, what the hell was that? Yo, what was that? Yo, what was that? I just heard something. The way I flew. I don't have time for this right now. You hear me? Like, bruh. Yeah. I'm sorry, Pile 5. I'm over here something already, but I don't even know what that was. It just scared me. Like, bruh, why are you playing right now? Like, stop playing with me. As you can see, I'll be jumpy. We're gonna act like that didn't happen, but it did. Anyway, yeah. So sorry to that man. 8 of Swords. Please give me a thumbs up for that jump scare. Oh, jump scare. Ace of Wands in reverse, and the 5 of Swords in reverse, and then the Queen of Swords. So, that was on the bottom of the deck. Pile 5. Your psychic ability. Your psychic ability, Pile 5, is that I can see you being an oracle, a channeler. Um, I feel like you at nighttime you get lots of inspirations and downloads. I just know that the washing machine is about to make a lot of noise. Yep. You could have a knowing of things without understanding why that is. Um okay, so you get a lot of communication from people, like people I, oh, okay, so pile 5, your psychic abilities come from the fact that people tell you things that they may not necessarily be supposed to tell you. Like, I feel like you get a lot of information, like, or people could accidentally tell you something, like someone could send you a text that wasn't meant for you, or DM that wasn't meant for you, like people, like, it's almost the energy that people tell on themselves in front of you. And you, if you want to know something about someone, then they end up saying something to you about it without you asking. So it's never like that you have this energy that you aren't like looking to find the answer. It just comes to you. And then people will try to argue that, like, people can think that you do some type of dark magic. because of the hold that you have on them. Like I feel like your psychic power comes on the fact that you're always on people's mind. That's what it is. And people can't stop thinking about you, and then they feel like you put some type of spell on them. They'll try to like even blame you and tell other people that you did some type of magic to them, and it's just like, no, I didn't. And I also feel like Paul, Five, that you're very lucky. Like you could have evaded death many times or situations. Like you could be the type of person that falls out of a tree or like falls to your death and then survives, or you could like fall out of a tree and land on your feet, or like you could fall and be unbruised, unscathed, and not have anything happen to you. Like I said, and that's what makes people think that you work with some. Like a lot of times, people will try to accuse you of working with lower level entities, which is crazy because it's like if people really knew God, then they wouldn't assume that these strong forces have to always associate with the devil himself instead of just automatically associating with God. So I feel like you guys are a very highly attuned pile. You're very connected to source. You're most likely an earth angel also. So your psychic abilities comes from the fact that you were actually sent down here on a mission. So you are an earth angel and you have a very persuasive ability. I feel like you could be connected with the Fae because I was gonna say you could have ancestors or another have a timeline that you were on could have been connected with maybe you weren't necessarily a human. It could have been some type of other being. I don't know whether it was an animal or a being, a Fae. Or like you could get synchronicities like when you see butterflies or like colors. Like you could like they say there's certain manifestations that you can do, which also I feel like your psychic ability is your ability to manifest. Like you manifest really, really well and continue to do that. It also could benefit you to teach people how to manifest or to write some type of manifestation guide. You probably already do that. Probably are a psychic here on YouTube or hey, comment your channel below so I can subscribe. Um, but what I was gonna say was you you could work on you could utilize the manifestation tactic where you ask the universe or God a certain question and then you tell them to show you a butterfly in a specific color and you do that. And you probably, or even if it's not a butterfly, it could be something else. You could be like, show me this, if this is this, like a yes or no. You could talk through the universe. So I get that your psychic ability comes from the fact that you're able to communicate with the universe. The universe, um, in the celestial bodies, whether it be the moon, or just God Himself, He talks to you through His other beings, which are animals and maybe insects or flowers. Like you could literally like see some type of rare flower. Like you could see a feather, like a gold feather or a white feather just walking. So those are like messages, and you know how to interpret messages in your own synchronicities through your daily life. Let me post some more cards. That was a terrible shuffle. Um, so there's seven of pentacles, seven of clubs, seven of hearts. So you could see 777, or you could be born in the seventh month, which is July. So you could be a Gemini, a Cancer, or you could be a Libra because Libra is the seventh house. Ten of Wands, or you could probably have a stellium in your seventh house, or you could be a Libra rising or a Libra moon. There could be like there's some influence on air energy, whether it's a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, definitely Gemini, definitely Libra. Or something about your Jupiter. You'd be a Jupiter, Gemini Jupiter, or a Libra Jupiter, or Jupiter in the seventh house, or Jupiter in the third house, or Gemini. Yeah, something like that. Let me shuffle these again. Still, uh, your intuitive abilities could be, um, your children could be. It's something about children if you have children, or like your body. Like you could have been a miracle baby, or you could have had a miracle baby. Um, I also see that I see this person, Power Five, being very, very flexible. Like you could be into pole or like the hula hoops, or the, like, you know, when they use the ropes, like Erykah Badu, when they use the, not the ropes but the fabric, and they like an acrobat or a yogi, or you could balance like on your head a lot. You maybe could be into, what's that other thing called? Not Tai Chi, but maybe it is Tai Chi. I feel like your psychic abilities also comes from your ability to meditate. Like when you're meditating, it heals you, and you get a lot of downloads from that meditation. Now with the Nine of Swords, yeah, your mind is very clear. I feel like you're able to clearly hear messages, whatever that means for you. It could be whether you can hear someone's thoughts, or you can hear the divine talking to you. Like the divine can literally speak. Like everybody, the way each person gets their downloads is different. Like some people could actually hear voices. Some people, you know, or maybe you could have been diagnosed with schizophrenia, and but you don't believe that you maybe have schizophrenia or some type of bipolar. Like there's something that has to do with your mind and the way that you receive messages. Um, and just because you hear voices doesn't mean you're schizophrenic. But if you, this is not a replacement for medical advice. Um, so if you're borderline schizophrenic or whatever, you know that, then I would seek out actual medical advice. But I hear, as far as like voices, which most voices that you hear in your head are you anyway, but it's different parts, aspects of you talking to yourself. So you could probably talk to yourself a lot. Maybe you're a really good singer. Oh, your voice could be. So one of your intuitive abilities is in your voice. Like you have a very persuasive voice, or you have a very ethereal voice. So you could be like a siren. People could be drawn to your voice alone. Like if you're an artist, or it's something about your ability to speak. I see you standing in front of a large crowd, speaking or singing or using your voice to some capacity. You could maybe have also a deep voice, or in both of these cards here, they're doing this balance. So you could be a juggler, or you could juggle a lot of things. You could speak multiple languages, or you could be from multiple backgrounds, multiple ethnicities. And so your psychic abilities derive from the fact that you have lots of different types of ancestry lineage. And or maybe you are just, but you could be a star seed and be, if you know how to read your natal chart to see, based on where the degrees of the planets are, to tell you, because you have particularly been from a different star system. Maybe I'm hearing Pleiadian, yeah, or Arcturian, but mainly Pleiadian star system. Or you could have Nordic ancestry. Yeah. Or Russian. Could be, have European ancestry, but you may not look like a European. Or Asian ancestry. Your psychic abilities comes from your ancestry. Like wherever you're from, you're able to tap into your ancestors simply from where you're from. Again, I do apologize for the noise, but that is all I have for you today, pile 5. Please check out another pile and give this video a thumbs up. Like I said, I apologize for the jump scare and the noise in the background, but I'm gonna go on to pile 6 now. So pile 6 is gonna start at 114.10. This was the pile that I picked. So let's see. Or I was drawn to. So we're gonna see what it is. That last pile was good. You know, all these piles are good, but that last pile was pretty good. So if you're drawn to the last pile, then please check that out because there are 7 piles. So there's plenty of piles for you to choose from. It's pile 6. So pile 6, this is your pile. It is this card. I saw that. So pile 6, I believe that you see things in the 3D, and like you could see a lot of synchronicities happen, and you could be prone to wanting to screenshot them or write them down so you remember them later. You could also be a lucid dreamer, and you could potentially like to you could potentially like to dream a lot simply for the fact that you astral project. So I think that a lot of times if you have lucid dreams, that you get answers about your dreams in the physical. Like you can have dreams where things your psychic abilities come from the fact that you dream about stuff that may not make sense in the moment, but then you get the answer later. So your psychic ability has to deal with time. Okay, you want to see the cards? Here. No. So this is it. Yeah. This is an interesting mix of cards. I haven't gotten this. So the world, the world in reverse. Oh, it flew. The 10 of Pentacles. This is the Mystic Mondays deck. I know you're like, oh, those cards are pretty. Thank you. 4 Wands. 6 of Wands in reverse. The Star. Chariot. So there's every element here. 8 of Pentacles in reverse. So for my pile number 6, your psychic ability. Oh my God. Okay. So your psychic ability is, how do I want to say this? Like you're right about a lot of things. Okay, so if you are a tarot reader and you, okay, this is deep. This is gonna get real otherworldly. There is a energy of not being normal, and your psychic ability stems from the fact that the way that you do things is not normal. The things that you talk about is not normal. The things that you think about is not normal. The way that you think about things is not normal. It's unnatural. It's out of the box. It's very alien-like. So we got the world, a 10, a 4, 6, star, chariot, 8. So there's even numbers. And then, so your psychic abilities can be from the angel numbers that you see. So you could be really into numerology or math. You could like to do sky math or I call it sky math, but it's like when you take an astrology, for example, if you're like moon in 11, I mean, sun in 11, moon in the second, Mars in the third, Venus in the 12th, and then you do numbers like that. Like you could do personal years. You could read people's birth charts a lot. Your psychic ability is in being the black sheep. Like I feel like a lot of times in your life, you've had a lot of the same situations happen to you where it's like you might get outcasted, or you have to work independently, even in groups. And each time you learn, you have to go through the same lesson, but you learn something different each time. And you're being taught how to use the previous lesson and apply it for the next one that happens. So it's almost like you live in a loop. Oh, and I apologize for the noise. The washing machine's going. And it occurred in pile 4. So if you were drawn in pile 4, then I will go to and check the deal. Because there are 7 piles or whatever. So pile Pile 6, you see things that other people may not be able to explain, but you can explain them because you're so tapped into spirituality that all of it makes sense to you because you understand numbers, you understand the codes and languages of the universe, you understand, like, you're really tapped into spirituality, and that is your psychic ability. Because you're able to explain to someone why something happens because this alignment was going on in the sky, or because the transiting sun is in opposition to a person's natal sun, and so right now you're feeling X, Y, and Z, and you're able to explain those things. But a lot of times it's like, even though the knowledge that you have is very natural to you, it is occult like to others because it's non-traditional. Like, it's not like textbook, like, okay, we learned this in school, or this is something that I apply to work. Like, this is literally you dealing with occult practices. um and when I say occult practices, it doesn't have to necessarily be pagan. It could just simply be like astrology, spirituality, numerology, Mayan calendar, time lords, planetary magic, like all that kind of stuff. um Oh, so that's what that sound was. Okay. In the last pile, I had jumped because I heard something, and now I realize what it was. So it's like you get answers. It's like you're able to, like, you're almost like your own spiritual leader. What is the word I'm looking for? Uh, master. Like, you're, it kind of gives me like Doctor Strange vibes, where you're a student but you're a teacher at the same time because you spend a lot of time studying whatever it is that you study. Most likely it has to deal with occult practices and spirituality. So you're able to, like, when things happen, for example, if there's a food shortage, or if there's if people are talking about some shooting that just happened or something that's going on in pop culture or media, you're able to predict it beforehand because you know how to read alignments in the sky. Like, you understand astrology. And a lot of times, like I said, this information is a natural to you, but to other people it's not, because they didn't, most people didn't grow up learning about astrology, which I didn't even grow up learning about astrology, but I was introduced to astrology at a young age when I was 7, and I've been studying it ever since. But it wasn't until like the last 7 years of my life that I started. Well, for the last 5 years I've been doing tarot, but for the last, like, well, actually, yeah, the last 10 years I've been doing astrology, but I didn't start researching it as much. I just kind of like took the people around me and like used the signs that I picked up on from them, because I started being able to draw patterns. So I feel like your psychic ability is through patterns, like synchronicities, like I said, with numbers. You're able to understand angel numbers. Um, and stuff that happens, like the universe will talk to it. I hope my eyes didn't just cross, but there was like a little piece of lint that was just flying right there. So you have this like very 3D form of magic or alchemy that really only you can understand. Because if you try to explain to somebody else, it'll probably upset you, because you know that they're not even going to realize what you're talking about anyway, because they just are not into spirituality on the level that you are. Not to say that they won't be interested, but mainly because they just simply don't understand. So your intuition comes from the fact that you're able to understand other things that most people don't even, not only do they not understand them, but they just have no knowledge of them. So there you are trying to explain to someone something about astrology when you already messed up when you started, because the person don't even believe in astrology. And I just think that you're around, you sometimes are surrounded by a lot of people who don't believe the same way that you believe, and but you're able to like realize, okay, this is so like mundane. Like, you probably like, your psychic ability is in the fact that you understand that we live in a very three-dimensional world and we live in a very mundane world, but you're able to see the very other colors, shapes, and dimensions and timelines other than the three-dimensional timeline that we're in. Like, you, I also see, like, it kind of gives me vibes like the Flash. Like, if you're able to save things, like if something falls off the counter and it should have broke, like, you're able to catch it at the last second. Or if you like could have potentially fell down the steps, something could catch you, or you like cut yourself to where you don't get hurt. Like, I see you saving yourself a lot. I also see like the downloads that you get are not necessarily from people like the rest of the powers. Like the first 3 to 4 powers, their intuitive powers came from people, but yours comes from things like maybe lights, like certain lights, certain colors, certain counts of numbers that you see. Like you might see 10 holes, and then you might see 10 shoes, and then you might see 10 rabbits, and then it's just stuff like that. And now you're taking the number 10, 10, 10, or 1, 1, 1, or 3, and you're taking those few numbers for the next transit. If when you really understand astrology, for like the next 30 days, you'll like use that number as the theme, and will definitely lead you, and you'll be able to understand mundane tasks like, okay, why is everybody breaking up? Well, the energy of three, because people are in collaborations and stuff like that. And so you're able to take, what is it, the word metaphysical, but also esoteric. Like your psychic abilities comes from your esoteric knowledge, your metaphysical understanding. And let me draw some more cards over here. Yeah, I like this pile because I definitely resonate with it. Like I like to draw like answers from themes. Whether I notice like hella people breaking up, or hella people getting married, or hella people being sad and depressed, or a lot of suicides. Trigger warning, sorry, but yeah, this is a warning. Trigger warning. I feel like the things that people in the very mundane life, like that kind of pardon me, but the things that happen to people in their mundane life that may be such a mental burden for them, you just understand them. That is your psychic power, because you get why things happen. You understand the ebb and flow to the world, and the energy that there always has to be a beginning and an end, a give and take, as above so below, and you just understand that. I feel like at a young age, you maybe had a lot of old, like you connected with older relatives, or you were very mature at a young age, and you might have been into things that were far beyond your years, outside of like school. Like you could have been like myself and really liked school, but could have found the need to want to study other things. Like you could have wanted to deepen your practices, and so you're not really like the people around you, because your intuition is always guiding you in places that are not where most of the rest of the pack is going. Like your intuition is always leading you somewhere new. Or I feel like your intuition leads you through time and space almost. And so like the more that you are studying one thing, you'll start seeing, for example, like if you're studying about like star systems, then next thing you know, you go outside and you might see some type of synchronicity on a car, or you might start seeing hella like blue cars. Or if you know, you know, like if you're tapped into this power, then you understand what I'm trying to say, because it's almost hard to explain, and maybe you have a hard time explaining things to people. Like with the this is a warning card, I feel like you try to get people to understand things. Like you might have a lot of people's charts, or like for example, like Venus is in Pisces, so you might be trying to tell people that this is not a good time for love, or this is a lot of people are going to be delusional, instead of like trying to understand where you're coming from, what you're saying. Most people are, they're not either listening, or they're just overcome by the energies, and they're not taking your advice on how to flow with the energies. Instead, they're allowing the energies to overtake them. And I see that happen so many times. I just be like, why don't y'all listen to me? But it's within people's level of understanding and comprehension. Like people are only going to be able to make sense out of things that they're willing to understand, not what they can understand, what they're willing to understand. Because you can understand a bunch of things if you open your mind to it, but a lot of people are not willing to open to their mind to things, which is why they live very mundane lives. So that's that. Pull one more card. Yeah, like you're definitely a visionary. So have faith, please. For my pile six, please have faith and continue. Like your intuition is basically your life is your psychic ability, because you were brought on this earth to get people to understand the metaphysical side of life. Like a lot of the things that happen to you, you won't necessarily be able to explain, but you will be able to explain them through the esoteric knowledge that you study, whether it's the position of the planets, or the position of our geocentric model, you know, wherever you live on Earth, how it affects you, and where you're affected by, based on the transits, based on numerology, based on the Chinese zodiac. What are you, the year of the dog? Like, what are your personal numbers, your time lords, your part of fortune, all of that type of stuff. That's why it says have faith, because your intuition comes from literally studying life through other people. Like I said before, the other powers before, their intuitive gifts came from the people around them, but yours comes from what you know. Oh my God. Yours comes from what you know and how to explain it to people. And you just have to continue to elevate and continue to study the things that you are passionate about in this esoteric and metaphysical field, and then more people will begin to understand them. But in the meantime, you have to know that as long as you're studying, then you will be able to open more people's minds to the knowledge that you have. You can't force people to understand it if they're not ready, but as you cultivate your skill and your knowledge, people will be able to understand it better. So you have to just, your intuition is your intuitive power is your intuition alone, listening to your intuition. Your intuition is very strong, and you just be knowing things, and you have to stand on that. Because I know it could be hard sometimes where, you keep trying to explain things to people who just are not trying to hear you for that. Most people just probably want to just be around you for fuck's sake, or for how you look, and you're trying to explain some deep shit to you, and they're just not there, and that has nothing to do with you. Just keep doing what you do. And with the, I saw that, like, I feel like a lot of times you pick up on your intuition, or like your intuitive powers is the ability, sorry, is the fact that you're able to peep things, but you're not always able to say it, because maybe like you might notice people in their nervous twitches, but you're not going to be like, yeah, I noticed that you always pull your hair out whenever you start talking about X, Y, and Z. Like, you're not necessarily going to say that because it's awkward, but you notice it. And you might find yourself having more, like, the deeper you dive down the rabbit hole, the less that you're able to say to people, because you're noticing the humanistic traits that people have that they might not even notice about themselves. And you don't want to seem like a know it all, or somebody who's always a Dr. Fix It, but instead, you just take those and you take notes and you use that as a channel message and to strengthen your intuition. So with that being said, pile 6, I really love this one. I think this was my favorite pile so far, but if you feel free to check out another pile, I would encourage you to do so, because there are some piles and they're all really good so far. Listen to as many as you like, and please give me a thumbs up and let me know in the comments what you thought and what you'd like to see next and what pile you chose. And until next time, pile 6, thank you for watching. So now let's clean up here. Clean house, clean house. Pile still. Pile sip. Pile siete. Pile 7. 132.44. P7. 132.44. The last pile was only 15 minutes. Oh, okay. So pile still. I do be bobbing. I'm hearing this SpongeBob song that is in that came from that episode. That's funny. Sagittarius. Sagittarius. All right, I'll say let's pull some cards. Pile 7. Your intuition, your psychic gifts is through music. Like, you could be trying to explain something to, like, you could be having a certain idea. Say, for example, you have to write a paper and you don't know what to write about, and then you hear this one song and you're able to derive a whole story off of a song. Or you're able to not understand something, but then you listen to a song and it explains the situation and it helps you understand it. Also, I feel like your intuitive, your psychic gifts comes from art, whether it's dancing, it's some type of movement, dancing, music, singing, like you be vibing. And your psychic gift is, oh, like you could put people onto really good music. Like you could find a lot of new music. I see like you could like different genres of music, and you could put people onto music. Yeah, you're feminine nature. I'll show you the cards in a second. Just give me a second. Huh. Huh. Okay. Okay. So your psychic gifts are through meditation in nature and your femininity, like your divine feminine energy. Your psychic gifts are your ability to heal. Your you help people heal the feminine wounds that they have. This is my divine feminine power because there's only women in these cards, but you don't have to necessarily be feminine, but you're most likely very tapped into the feminine side of yourself. And you could be a life coach or a women's coach or something to do with women where you help women see their power. So your psychic abilities are your ability to see what people's flaws are and help them eradicate them in order to exploit the strongest, deep, like most depths part of themselves. So the cards I just, I say shards. The cards I just showed you: the Empress, the Princess of Pentacles. Notice how they both have something in their hand. The next card, the Four of Cups, the Five of Swords in reverse. Another pile had that. I think it was three, two. You might be drawing a pile two or three. Page of Swords. I mean, the Princess of Swords or a page. And the Eight of Swords. There's no fire here, so this most likely, I feel like you're a Capricorn, you're a Taurus, my Libras, my Pisces. So your psychic abilities are, and your ability to know, like you could be a stylist, or you could be like you could know what looks good, what sounds good. Like you are really good at editing. You have good taste. You also help people explore depths of themselves. Like maybe you could be a Kundalini instructor, or maybe I see like somebody has an OnlyFans. Like your psychic abilities comes from your like your sex appeal or your beauty and your ability to beautify yourself. Um, Draw certain people to you. Like for example, you could use planetary, like if you do planetary themed stuff, like for example, if it's a Tuesday and you're like, it's Tuesday, which is ruled by Mars, and let me wear red, and then you get lots of compliments. Or like they say, like the color red really is attractive to like masculines. So you could wear red on a Tuesday and notice a lot of men trying to hit on you. Like if you go out and say, for example, you did an experiment, you're like, I'm going to wear red on Tuesday and I'm going to sit at the bar at whatever the planetary is for Mars. Like say, for example, it's 12 o'clock. And then it just so happens to be a great day. Like you know when to do things at the right time. You know how to look on that day. You know what will get you the most attention and what will get you the best outcome or response, or even on the opposite end, you know how to repel and get that energy as well. And that's very feminine quality, to be able to know what can attract the things that you're desiring and what can also repel them. So there's a heavy emphasis on your psychic your psychic abilities comes from how you're able to draw people into you. Two of Pentacles. On the bottom of the deck, it was the Two of Pentacles in reverse. So I feel like your psychic ability is your ability to seduce. Like you seduce a lot of people without trying. And people are really, a lot of people are attracted to you or drawn to you. And you pay attention to, like, you also could be into astrology where, say, for example, you post on your story and you post a picture and then certain people like it and you know the signs of those people. And for one day you could be like, man, a lot of Sagittarius, I mean, only Sagittarius like my picture today. So then you start using that theme. Like you know how to listen to the answers of the universe through your femininity and through your appeal. You can also have a very nice body, and I just see like you drawing answers from the people that are attracted to you. I feel like you have the ability to be on people's minds and get people, like if you want something, you know how to go and get it. Like you can be like, I want to go on a date today, and next thing you know, somebody's asking you like, oh, do you want to go out for lunch? You want to go get coffee on me? You're like, yes, of course. And so your psychic ability is the ability to um know what you want and what you manifest and desire, and also from other people, and you're like, able to align those timelines to manifest in the reality instead of just reality manifesting something that you want in the reality. You're able to actually manifest what it is you desire by attracting the people that you know into that energy as well, if that makes sense. I hope I took out the energy from the last cards, because if I didn't, then that means that most likely you're supposed to look at another pile or the pile before. So yes, your beauty, it's all in your beauty. It's something about your lips. Like it's just giving me that your intuition, your psychic abilities comes from your feminine nature. Like you do not chase, you attract. So you know how to flow with time and how to, like if you actually really go off of your emotions and your intuition. So your intuitive powers are your emotions. So when you feel good and you go out into the world, then you attract things. And you might find yourself like, even if you aren't like necessarily attracted to these people who are attracted to you, you just find yourself connecting with different types of people, and like you use that to your benefit, because these people that you attract, you end up learning a lesson from them. Not saying that something has to happen negatively, but like they teach you something from you meeting them, and then next thing you know, you're like, you know what, this person just made me think about this, and it also kind of like triggers something in your mind to go down this path of like this path of intuition, where now you're inspired by them. So your psychic ability is in your inspiration from others. Like you could get a lot of answers from tarot readings if you do tarot, or if you, whatever you do, it's something that you do with your hands. Dance, dance, dance with my hands. So you could have like a OF account, or you could be a dancer, and your clients, you know, whether it's the people that are subscribed to your account, your OF account, or the clients that come in to see you dance, they really inspire you. And it's kind of like now you have created your own cult. Trigger warning, I don't mean to call it a cult, but it's like you have like your own little mini following in the physical, not like a following on social media, which you might have a large following. You could be an influencer or a model also. But people, your intuitive powers comes from your beauty and what you attract through your beauty, if that makes sense. I don't really know any way else to put it. Like you're beautiful, and people are drawn into that, and you may not have always thought you were beautiful because of insecurities or trauma, or maybe you just don't even think about those things on a superficial level, but you can notice how much people are attracted to you. And then sometimes you might even just go out in your bare face, and it actually may um benefit you less to go out in your bare face, because even when you're bare face, you attract so much more people, and you sometimes may intentionally put on makeup to try to repel certain people. But it's like no matter what you do, you're always getting fawned over by men and women, whether you're a man or a woman. But you just have this strong intuitive quality that makes people feel comfortable around you, and like people that they just want to give up everything for you. Like you could people could try to like call you a homewrecker, because you could attract people who are already in situationships or relationships or marriages, and then people may want you to come in and be the third person, and you're just like, no, I don't want to be the third person. You get tired of attracting those situations, but it's not you. It's just literally this like appeal that you have that's so down to earth, that it leaves this lasting impression on people's mind, and you really just like be in your own world. But for some reason, you can't help but to, I mean, you can't help but use a baddie. Like, so you got the Empress, the Princess of Four, 8, 7, 9. So your intuition or your intuitive powers or your psychic gifts is your ability to connect with other people, especially those in relationships. Like I see you always attracting couples and you learning something through, so you could end up being like a romance counselor or like a kundalini instructor or a relationship counselor. And you probably like doing those type of things because you see all the flaws that people have in the 3D world when it comes to relationships, because you understand love. So your psychic gift is your ability to understand love. So you love yourself a lot. You have a lot of you've mastered self love through the many cycles that you've had to heal through from um, people trying to cut you down with their words, and you've had to heal. And now, actually, your other psychic gift is you are able to mirror people, and like you're able to like open up. Your psychic gift is your ability to help people see their psychic gift. So you make people want to tap into whatever it is that you're like. Unlike the last pod, I don't know if it was the last pod or the pod before that, where people like they try to tell people stuff about astrology and people don't care. Whereas it's like your intuitive nature draws people in and they want to learn more. They're like, please help me understand. Please, I've been trying to understand. I just get this feeling that there's something I'm supposed to know and I'm supposed to learn from you. And you're able to help people do that. Like you help people vibe, you help people feel comfortable, you help people heal, you help people tap into their intuition. Like even if you're not necessarily focused on your intuition half the time, you started to tap into your intuition simply because other people are making they you've had so many people come up to you and be like, help me, like there's something. You're like, help you what? Like, what do you mean? Like I'm here too, just trying to figure it out just like you. And then that inadvertently led you down a spiritual path because so many people felt like you had some type of wisdom that you did have, but you probably didn't think about it like that because it's your life and you're not really investing in like, oh, I'm a spiritual practitioner, I'm gonna cult practice, like you don't think about it like that. And so that basically is your psychic power. Like you make people, you are a mirror for people. And notice how these two cards, they're looking this way, something in their hands, and then this card, they're looking that way. So your reflection, whatever that means for you, this is probably a synchronicity for you. So that's all I have for you, pile 7. I'm sorry if it was a little short, but I definitely, this energy right here, I'm gonna expound on in the next reading. I don't know what it's gonna be, but there's something about this energy that I feel like I have to go deeper into. But right now, I gotta take a break. So check out the next video and also check out the other piles, and please give your girl a thumbs up if you're drawn to another pile. Also go check it out like I already said, and definitely let me know in the comments what you thought, and I'll see you guys in the next video.